All right. So, aggressive coworker behavior. What are we going to do about that? So, we'll chat about that and some techniques and tactics I'll give you that you can use and not face this problem anymore. So, all of my students, hey, welcome. So almost all of my students have actually faced this issue. They have had aggressive coworkers in all their fields. I have women in engineering fields. I have women as nurses, right? I have college students who work at bubble tea places, restaurants. So no matter where they've worked, I have teachers, right? They all face this issue where their coworkers are being very aggressive. Either it's passive aggressive or it's outright yelling, screaming, also stealing their ideas. So, especially in the computer industry. Hey, welcome, Dr. David. Okay, so aggressive coworker behavior. Now, this has happened to all my students, like I was sharing. So, what can we do about it? Okay, there are several different types of aggressive behavior. So our coworkers can either just be passive aggressive, right? So be subtle, no yelling or screaming, and then just imply that we're not doing the right amount of work or we're just whatever, we're not good. And the second type is verbally being aggressive. Hey, PhD universe. Now, when a coworker is being verbally aggressive with us, that's very different than passive aggression. Then the third type is being physically aggressive, right? So when actually grabbing, pulling, or even stopping your way, or even kind of closing the gap and being in your face. So those type of aggressions are those that exist, and they're all actually pretty common. So some of the things that have personally happened to my students are things like coworker steals their ideas. So this is one of my students who is an engineer. She writes code, and she's a manager. So I think it was one of her employees or another manager's employees. I don't know what the situation was. He kept taking credit for her code. And he was also very passive aggressive in the sense that he would say things like, "Oh yeah, that's totally fine. Oh yeah, you're misunderstanding things. Obviously I have the ability to do this better than you do," right? Something to that effect. So that was really hard for her to understand. Well, what can I say? What can I do? How can I make sure that this person is not stealing my ideas constantly, and how can I just create this environment, right? So first, fixing the problem, and then second, how to make sure it never occurs or happens again. Okay, so let's dive right in. So when a coworker is being aggressive, so the first thing to understand is that it comes from a place of disempowerment. Hey, Kamal. So if a coworker is aggressive, that's what we're talking about, right? Now, here's what we can do, okay? Depending on our personality, we might approach it different ways. Either we get angry or we're just subdued and not able to say anything. Now, it's important to know that if we're getting really angry about this, that this person, this coworker, really is coming from a disempowered place. Okay, even though they're being aggressive, passive aggressive, active aggressive, doesn't matter, they are disempowered, they're not doing their job well, or they don't have the confidence to just own it. That's why they're using other people, okay? So the best way to approach, especially on a non-physical scale, right? So either just yelling or taking credit for your work, etc. The best way to approach this is to first and foremost always work on our empowerment, okay? Women who are disempowered are the ones who are picked on the most. Hey, Cat Buckle. So it's very important that first we are not disempowered, okay? And what does that mean? How do we work on that? Okay, so, do I have good self-worth, high self-esteem, or am I always talking about myself negatively? Or am I not even talking about myself positively, even if I'm not saying negative things? A lot of women at work, they don't take credit for their work. They don't come out and say, hey, I did this and this is awesome. We don't do that. a lot of men do. That's why they get promoted. The salary gap between men and women really exists because women don't speak up for their work or take credit for their work at all. And men in general, even if they don't do work that is as good as their female counterpart, they will still go to the manager and say, see, I did this work. I did this. I need a promotion. When am I going to get a promotion? They have those conversations. Okay, what do I need to do to get a next promotion? Especially in the STEM fields, it's fairly common. All right, engineering fields specifically. We show up at our one-on-ones with our manager, and we're just like, oh yeah, I did that, and the manager will say, oh yeah, that's awesome. Oh no, it was nothing. Why? It was something. Why do we say that? Why do women do that? Okay, so hey Ashu, hey Connecting. So very important that women don't do those kinds of things, right? They say, oh, I didn't do anything. Oh, it's okay. Well, first of all, when somebody gives us credit, thank you. And going beyond that, we need to do more than that. We need to actually start sharing our work. Yes. Hey, Priyanka. We need to start sharing our work and saying, actually, I did this work. And then going to a manager and saying, okay, so what do I need to do to get a promotion? Okay, I did this work, so why do I not have a promotion? Now, the problem is, it's easier said than done. We are super scared. People listening to me right now are like, oh, okay, I get it, that this is what I need to do, that I need to tell my manager, talk to my manager, ask him what I need to do to get a promotion, tell him I did it and I need a promotion, why didn't I still get it? I understand that concept, yet I'm freaked out. It's too scary for me to do that. So a lot of women are just scared to talk, ask, say about this, okay? And it comes from a place of disempowerment. There it is. So the way to make it easy for us to step up and do it and not feel like we're going to have a panic attack is to first figure out why we are disempowered. Do I have a negative self-talk? Am I talking about myself negatively? Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't say this. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I don't really think people will like me. Oh, I don't know if... Stopping that. Okay, starting with the goals list. If you haven't seen that video, go search on YouTube. Defense Ninjas, rewiring your brain. Okay, I talk about that. So creating our goals list, saying, I'm an awesome person, I'm strong, I'm empowered, I am very good at speaking with my manager, I get promotions, that list is super important. And then working on our self-worth and self-esteem, right? Saying these things to ourselves too, it's like a mantra, repeating it. I'm strong, I do great work, my work is valued, etc., etc. I like myself. And then saying that with our other people too, right? Trusted people in our environment who will be like, yes, you are. Okay, and then also thinking about why am I disempowered? What happened in the past to make me that way? Is it my culture? Is it because something happened when I was a kid and now I'm too scared, right? Like something happened in my past which made me disempowered, especially when it comes to like speaking up, which was I was in school, I don't know, 7th grade, and we had separate boys shift and girls shift just because it was a small school and couldn't accommodate us all. Now I think they do same shifts together, but still segregated boys and girls. So I had left my water bottle at the end of my shift in my classroom, and that classroom was now slowly being swarmed by boys who were taking over for their shift. So I ran from my bus. All the buses were lined up. I ran to go to my classroom to get my water bottle. And I was super embarrassed because I had to go through all these boys, and I wasn't allowed to because our school had pretty strict rules. And so it was an Indian school, if you're curious, back in Dubai. And it's just how Indian schools are. It's a very Catholic school influence. Anyway, so I ran to get my water bottle, and by the time I came back, I missed my bus. My bus had left to go home. So here I was standing in front of an assembly of a couple hundred boys, and the principal walked all the way across from the stage to me and said, what are you doing here? Well, you shouldn't have gone back for your bottle. I was like, get your parents to come pick you up. And my parents couldn't come pick me up. I had to catch a cab. And he said, no, I won't let you do that. It was just bad. And so I remember that was one of the things. Now, I don't know how it directly impacted me. That's the point. But I do remember that was one of the things where, that happened. And after that, I felt so embarrassed. And I was just super scared to take any action for myself, okay? So that's common. That happens. Now, what's your story? Finding that, realizing, oh, I'm not that person anymore, okay? So there's so many different ways, and if you're not still sure where that empowerment is lacking, Send me a DM and I'll talk you through it. Okay. So that's the first piece. Okay. People who are disempowered, other people can sense. You go, oh yeah, look at her. Look at the way she's sitting and eating. You know, she's looking down as opposed to a person being up here. People can tell. People can sense. So that's why we get picked on, because we're disempowered. So now, of course, people who are empowered themselves wouldn't pick on us either, right? They would empower us as opposed to disempower us even further by picking on us. But that's a different story. What can we do? So once that is in place, once we feel like we've built our self-esteem, that is a preventative method for other people to not attack us in this form, right? Bullying. Okay, next step. What do we do with an aggressive coworker? We can and should practice speaking up. Okay, once we feel like we're empowered, we're going to practice. Hey, Mission. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, so I'm going to start having conversations with friends, maybe other trusted people, like these things I talked about, right? Hey, I want a promotion, I want to talk about this, etc. Or, oh, I have an aggressive coworker, so I'm going to practice what that looks like. Okay, I'm going to tell him this. All right, practicing. Practice makes perfect. Okay, now that those things are out of the way, how to speak up. Okay, here are some strategic steps we can take to really nail this in its butt. Nip it in its butt. That's what it's called, right? Okay. Now, specific scenario, this coworker is stealing an idea. Okay, you're stealing credit, taking credit for our work. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go have a conversation with them privately first and ask what's going on. So I call this the escalator steps of questions. Okay, so you want to start with basic questions and then get more specific in general. So be in a state of curiosity, not why did you do this? Especially if we're the kind of people who get angry a lot. Okay, so that's something we can work on and say, okay, let me have compassion for this person because he is disempowered, and that's why he's doing this. Okay, I want to make sure that he doesn't do this to me again, so I'm going to help myself. That's important, and not lose my temper. Okay, and if you're just really scared to speak up, if you're in the other end of the spectrum, not really angry but just kind of timid, the empowerment work will help you. The practice will help you. So we go up to the coworker and we say, okay, so privately, right, in his office, or message him, find a private time and say, hey, I need to chat. And if he says, what is it about? Say, let's just chat in person. Then you say, hey, I noticed in the meeting you said that you did this work, you checked it in, and actually you didn't. So why did you say that? I'm curious. Why did you say that? Start with the question. Okay, brings their defenses down, and let him explain. And so in this specific scenario with my student, he said, oh yeah, you misunderstood. Actually, I was saying that this is an important work that I'm a part of. So, oh, I understand that, seems like you were offended by it. So I'm going to make sure that you're not offended by it next time. And a very, very passive-aggressive behavior, okay? So she was prepared for it, because I said that's pretty typically how people respond, in a defensive way. Either they say, oh, I didn't do that, or you're misunderstanding it. That's pretty normal. So once that happens, then you take it to the next step and you say, no, I didn't misunderstand that. This is my work. That's the code I did, and I checked it in. So, okay, you can just directly jump in to say, do not do that again. Don't do it again. I'm telling you this now. Just don't do it again, okay? So now this can make the person say, well, you don't have to be like this. Hey, Fazia, why are you being so aggressive? I'm just trying to be a nice person. Why do you have to be mean? This is a sign that this person has bad attitude and does mean harm and is doing harm, because a good person wouldn't put it back on you, okay? And then the final step would really be just to say, just don't do it again, okay? And if I see this again, this conversation is not going to happen in private. I'm going to call you out in the meeting. And this person will absolutely repeat his behavior again, okay? So in this specific case, he did. He did come out in the meeting, but this time it was subtle. It was taking credit for the work, but not directly, trying to be subtle, because this person's not used to Amy always being quiet and letting me take credit for her work, but suddenly she came to my office, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe it was a bad day. Let me try and take credit once more subtly and see if I can just do it again, okay? So then you go to the office again and say, so remember I told you this? Okay. And so that's what she did, okay? She said, this is pretty much it. This is your last chance. So I'm actually going to have a conversation with somebody. And so she goes to another person and has a conversation and says, okay, so this person's been taking credit for my work, and this is what I've been doing, and just like, she spoke up for herself, okay? So that's pretty much what we want to do if somebody's taking credit for our work, is to speak up. Now again, if this is very hard for you to do, you have to work on the empowerment side. And if you have no idea how to even get started, have a conversation with me, all right? It's not scary. I'm not scary. Don't keep thinking, oh my God, should I reach out to her? Reach out to me. Your life is not going to change unless and until you take action. Okay. Now, what about a different type of aggressive behavior where this person is just yelling at you or controlling you, telling you, micromanaging you, telling you, do this, do that, go run errands for me, otherwise I won't help you, which is what happened to me when I was an engineer. So what do you do with that kind of behavior? Okay. So if it's very subtle and you're not quite sure what's going on, you can start with generic questions. Hey, what's going on? I'm sensing something's going on. And then let them answer, and then take it to, yeah, okay, so here's what I think is going on. Now you're being specific. I think that there's something about me that you perhaps don't like. I just have more stricter rules than this other person. She's able to get more time for an easier project, in fact, whatever that is, right? And then get that person to say something again. And now that person might say something, get defensive. No, it's not what's happening. You're misunderstanding. That's typically how they're going to be defensive. So you say, no, I'm pretty sure. Now you're going to stand your ground. Say, I'm pretty sure this is what's happening. Something's happening. Okay. Now your next question is, I want to help you. Okay. I want to make this better for both of us. I want to make sure I have a great time, that you're not showing up every day asking how much work I'm doing, depending on what the situation is. So, it's not helping you, because if you constantly give me less time, or you're checking in with me every day, I can't do the work, which means you as a mentor or boss look bad. So if you give me the space or the time, I can do better work, which means you will look like a great manager, mentor, or boss. So I want to help you, right? Of course it's going to help me, and it's also going to help you. So how can we make this work together? Putting their defenses down. Not like, you need to do this, it's your problem, it's your fault, you're being mean. But how I want to help you, and how can we do this together to make this great? Okay, putting that power back to you, saying, I can make this happen. I have the power to make this happen. So I'm just going to run with that power and say, all right, I'm the queen of my kingdom. I'm going to run this kingdom, and I'm going to run it. All right, let's make this happen. What is your idea? I'm going to tell you if that's going to work or not. Okay, so that's kind of a generic steps you can take. Now, if it's not a subtle behavior type situation, if it's a little bit more intense aggression-wise, you want to take a little bit more direct approach and start with, hey, so I noticed you did this. Okay. Depending on where you're at, you can use the escalator steps of question. What happened? Okay, what's going on? All right, what do you mean? It's a great question. Oh, what do you mean? If they say something weird or general, yeah, I was just in general understanding and trying to see where you were at. What does that even mean? Don't try to guess when they say, unless they say, you're a woman and I think women suck in engineering. Unless it's something specific like that, which they're not going to be, they're going to give some wishy-washy answer. Just say, yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, I don't understand what that means. Okay, then kind of going into, okay, yeah, here's what I'm hearing. Here's what I think, and you're going to paraphrase into exactly what you think is happening. Okay, and then you say, okay, here's what I think the solution's going to be. That's going to work for you and me. Make sense? Let's do that. Okay, cool. Boom, there it is. Right? Now, if it's a person yelling, screaming, you can't have a conversation, they're shutting the door at you, and this conversation's not helped, it's either this conversation has not helped, or you don't have the ability or space to have this conversation. You take it to the next level, which is you show up and you say, if this is because we're talking about aggressive coworker behavior and how to have a conversation with that person. Okay. Now, a lot of people will say, go talk to HR, go talk to your boss. I have never seen that work, unfortunately. I wish we were unionized or something. Engineers, we are not. And I remember my skip level manager, my boss's boss, telling me, oh, don't air your dirty laundry. It's not my dirty laundry. If they're shutting the door on me, slamming the door, my finger almost got broke off. I mean, luckily I had good reflex action. They're asking me to run errands for them, otherwise they're not going to help me. That doesn't work. They're senior developers. I'm junior. I just started last year. right? That's their dirty laundry. What do you mean I shouldn't air my dirty laundry? I'm going to complain. I'm going to go to HR. I'm going to do, right? I went to director level person. I even cried in his office. And I went to HR. And they're like, he's a high-performing developer. We can get you a lock on your door. He closed the door behind me, right, and threatened me. And so reality is telling other people to help us disempowers us, and it doesn't do much, unfortunately, okay? So yes, that's an option. Yes, you can explore that option. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying that do something that empowers us, and if you can resolve it by just talking to the person, great. That's the way to go. So we're going to go to this person and say, okay, well, first of all, if you're in the situation with this person yelling or screaming, you're going to walk away. You're going to walk away, close the door, let that person calm down. That's not a time to have a conversation. All right? Then you can send an email to maintain a track record. In case something happens and you need to send it to investigations, right? You're going to send an email and say, hey, this happened. You yelled, you threw this at me. This is not okay behavior. So I'm going to come to your office at this time. Let's schedule a meeting and talk about it. Okay? And yeah, you can go there and you can record it. You can take a recorder, and in some states, you don't even have to tell the person. In Washington State, you have to tell the person that, hey, I'm recording this conversation. Okay. Record it. Yeah, tell them. And they're like, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you being me? Don't worry about it. People who say those things, who put it on you that it's your problem, you're the aggressive one because you can't deal with their aggression, it's their problem. Just know that. So it's okay. Don't take it on and be like, oh, I feel so bad. No, you don't feel bad. And then you're going to have a conversation. Say, why did you do that? Let them answer. Oh, I got really, oh, okay. All right, next time, don't do it. Because this is what's going to happen. Boom, I'm going to talk. Boom, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to tolerate this nonsense, okay? So you're not going to do that. And the moment you do that, you can use your self-defense techniques the moment they put their hand on you, or even throw things at you, which is what happened to me. They started throwing things. I mean, it was sticky pads and stuff that wouldn't hurt. But I have in my right to defend myself with that kind of behavior. So you tell them, hey, I'm not going to put up with this crap, okay? So that's the level of escalation we want to take. In general, when we have aggressive coworkers, and they're just being passive-aggressive, or they're being controlling, trying to control us, do this, do that, I'm the senior, I'm a boss, and they're losing their temper, oh, you're doing horrible work, right? Typically, they're just disempowered, and we need to have a conversation about what's going on, how can I help you, let's make this relationship better, and that usually will diffuse the situation, okay? In some cases, you need to be very explicit and say, do not steal my work, do not raise your voice, do not touch me, do not throw things at me, otherwise there'll be consequence, okay? And then once that's happened, we're going to get to a stage where people are just not going to do that. And when they start doing that, you're going to immediately, in that meeting, in that scenario, say, stop right now, or I'm going to call 911. Have the confidence to do that. And if you're like, oh, I understand, Fauzi, I should do that, but I don't have the confidence to, then that's the thing again. Go back to empowerment. Build confidence. Let's build our confidence so we can easily speak up and say, don't do that. You have 2 seconds to stop that. Otherwise, I'm recording this, calling 911, and getting your ass kicked. Oh, whatever, okay. We need to build that level of confidence. In general, empowerment really helps put these people away. When I was disempowered, I had a lot of this aggressive behavior. Now, I just don't. I really don't. There are a lot of people with bad attitude, and I just approach conversations in a specific way, and I just present myself as empowered, that I can tell immediately that before they even say something aggressive, they've automatically diffused themselves because they know, they can sense I'm not a kind of person who'll take crap from them, okay? So if you have any questions, go ahead and post it below or send me a DM. And hey, Vagabond, if you have a specific situation of your coworker being aggressive or controlling, or you're not getting promotion at work, people don't like you because you're black, or what, I don't know, whatever issue you have, and you don't know how to specifically, hey Paula, if you don't know how to specifically tackle your coworker aggression, send me a DM that, hey, this is my issue, this is what I'm facing, and please help me. And with each specific scenario, I can navigate you and tell you, this is exactly the steps you need to take and overcome this issue. All my students, every single one of my students have had coworker aggression issues on some level or the other, and every single one of them I would say 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, just like that, gone, okay? And I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think it was like 3 weeks, I would say, on average, some shorter, some a little bit longer. That's all it takes. It doesn't take a very long time. It just takes sometimes a coach to help you with it. So go ahead and reach out to me. You can schedule a 15-minute call with me if you go to my call booking link, and we can chat. We can help you. I can help you out, all right? So, all right, seems like there was no question today. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining. And as again, stay safe, stay happy, be empowered. Talk to you later. See ya.